All right, we are on another Sunday weekend wrap up for our league. We are officially now halfway through with 21 weeks in the season. Week 10, next week we make the turn to the final 11 weeks. And, we definitely have been seeing a lot of great matchups. And it's, like I said last week, it's been a lot of fun. So I'm watching the Dodgers right now. It's, ninth inning. Hopefully, when Kenley comes up, he'll close it out. So I thought it would be, a good idea to kind of do a little evaluation of how players, just a small evaluation, after I go through the week wrap up on matchups. Just want to give my opinion on who were the best offensive players for each team that they drafted, best pitcher for each team that you drafted, and then best player you acquired either through free agent or through trade, and those best players that have contributed, the offense pitcher and the one you acquired for the first half, who were the best ones that contributed to each team. And I'm just going to run through them. I'm not going to go into their stats or detail like that. So looking at this week's matchups right now, we have, it was kind of a half and half this week. Let's say 3 of the 7 matchups were kind of runaways. Never really got close like Joe and Eric's and Dale and AJ's. Yeah, I was actually those two. Some were close, most of the week. David and Adams was close. Carlos and Justin's was close. Moy and Ray have a tied matchup right now. Going into the final game, let's look at this real quick. So Moy has no more players after Santana and Muncy, but Ray, let's see what the stats in the matchup are. So Ray already took hits. So Ray needs a home run, or Moy needs a home run, or a collection of a couple walks from Ray to tie Moy. And Ray has Jason Hayward in the Sunday night game. So we'll see how that goes. But again, going back to what I was saying, a lot of close matchups, at least for most of the week. Me and Efren's matchup was close all the way up going until today. I had to roll the dice and see if I wanted to throw a pitcher today to kind of get back some categories that I lost yesterday by throwing Flaherty. David was right there with Adam in this. David's just like on the cusp of winning matchups and just down to the end, And then Alejandro and Chewy's matchup was close. Alejandro's picked up some good players, and like I said, he's definitely not playing for next year. He's been able to get players to help him this year, and he's built for next year's draft, so he's done a great job. And Joe caught fire this week against Eric. Dale had a good matchup. I think AJ's really hurt with IL bug. Springer's down. Correa's down. Tyler Glass, now one of his best pitchers, is down. So, the injury bug has hit AJ pretty hard. He has to stay at that 500 to be in contention. But again, we're only halfway through. So if looking at it, the top 2 teams will be the same if it stays the way it is. They'll just flip Adam. Well, no, sorry. Adam is in 3rd right now, so he will go to 1st. Eric will go to 2nd. And if Justin does indeed lose, he will go to. He will drop to 5th. And if me and Moy both win, we'll move up to 3rd and 4th. Carlos will stay right where he's at 6. Joe will stay at 7. AJ will drop to 9. Dale will jump to 8. And everybody else will... Oh, Alejandro will move up. Ray will move down. And I think... And then Chewy and Efren will move down. And David will stay where he's at. So that's a wrap up for this week. Again, the evaluation, real quick. I just want to go down the list. Sorry, going back, depending on what happens with Moy and Ray's matchup, will determine where Moy lands in those top 8 standings. So, whoa, sorry. Yeah, so first one I'm gonna go off is Adam. I'm gonna name it by the first will be the best offensive player I think you drafted that's contributed for the first half. Then I'll go best pitcher who I think you drafted that's contributed for your first half, and then your best acquisition so far. The only one that, and I'll get down to the list where the one there's kind of an issue with a couple. So first one, Adam. Yelich, best offensive player. I think Luis Castillo was your best drafted pitcher. And Cody Bellinger was your best acquisition. You have the two potential, well, you have the two top NL MVP candidates right now. Eric, it's a toss-up with Trout and Arenado for your best offensive player drafted. Strasburg, your best pitcher. And DeGrom, your best acquisition. Moy, I think right now Luke Voigt was your best offensive player you drafted. Walker Buehler, your best pitcher. And Jorge Polanco, who's doing really good, best acquisition. That was a great trade pickup. For me, Anthony Rizzo, best drafted. Charlie Morton, best pitcher drafted. And Charlie Blackmon for best acquisition. For Justin, Whit Merrifield, I know you could probably say Chris Bryant, but I think Whit Merrifield, because the Cubs started out a little slow. Whit Merrifield's a stud, probably the best second baseman in the league. And Dodgers are 1 out away from winning the series with the Giants. So yeah, Whit Merrifield for Justin. Maeda, your best pitcher you drafted. And Frankie Montas, your best acquisition. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but he's doing really well for the A's. You're the starting pitcher you got. For Carlos, Xander Bogaerts, best offensive player. Verlander, best pitcher drafted. And Scherzer, obviously your best acquisition. For Joe, Justin Turner, offensive drafted. Ryu, your best pitcher you drafted. Ryu's having a Cy Young year. And I think Max Fried, or Fried, I think it's Fried. That's how you pronounce it. Great pitcher. I think he said Max Fried, Gelato, whatever his name is, Lucas Gelato, and then Jack Flaherty all went to Harvard Westlake here in SoCal, and they all played together at one time. Like one was a freshman, one was a sophomore, and one was a senior. So that's pretty cool. Dale, Marcus Semien is having a great. He's going to be an all-star. He might start the all-star game for the AL at shortstop. Shane Bieber, and then Garrett Cole, best acquisition. For AJ, George Springer, best drafted offense, best pitcher, Greinke, and best acquisition, Hunter Dozier. Alejandro, he's a little tricky because he kind of gave all his pitching away. So Mancini, best offensive drafted. Syndergaard at the time, before he traded him, was his best pitcher. And right now his best acquisition is Nelly Cruz, based on just the last couple days. Because he's kind of difficult. He's traded so much. Don't know how to go with him. But you can correct me, Alejandro, and the group me or something. For Chewy, Javi Baez, best drafted offense. Kershaw, best drafted pitcher. And this was a tough one for me. I'm going to say James McCann because we needed catcher production, and he's doing okay. For Efren, Freddie Freeman, best drafted. Brandon Woodruff, the pitcher for the Milwaukee's having a great year, best pitcher drafted. And then the Tapia guy from Colorado, who's great free agent pickup. For Ray, DJ LeMahieu having a stud year. Best drafted offense, best pitcher was Matthew Boyd that you drafted. And then you haven't made any acquisitions in free agency or trade. So, and then for David, finally, Bregman, best drafted offense. Barrios, best drafted pitcher, and Carlos Santana was a great acquisition from Alejandro. So I really like Carlos Santana. So that's a quick breakdown. Again, what we're looking at midseason is that any team can beat anyone. I say that all the time, which makes this league fun. I think we definitely should all hang out soon, just to shoot the shit and talk before the All-Star break. And again, keep setting your lineups and let's keep making this fun. And Kenley just closed it out. Took the series against the Giants. So on that note, I'm going to close this video out. You guys have a good rest of your weekend. We'll see you next week for the turn going into the second half of the season. See you on the next one, guys. Peace.